Hey!
This is JJ and Alex.
I made a name for myself. I told you I won't be denied.
As you wrap up your day, it's time to get your fix of the teams you live for and the sports you love. This is JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome on in, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Alex, Kirry, Jeremiah, Jensen. We love having you on the program. Thanks for tuning in on a Thursday. Thanks for being with us on the program. And JJ, it's Thursday, man. You know what that means? We're one day closer to divisional playoffs in the NFL, which are awesome.
I love Saturday's slate.
Saturdays are great. The Saturday playoff games in the NFL are awesome because what it means is they have too many games. Gosh, we got too many good football games. We got to put them somewhere.
Enjoy it while you can.
I know, because it's gonna get thin over the next few weeks, and then we're gonna be wandering in the desert with dry lips, going, "Please give me some water, sir." When football goes away, I hate it every year. I hate the idea anticipating it. Even I can't enjoy it. I can't enjoy what's in front of me right now because I already know what's going to happen in a month. If we're going to be all staring at each other, going, "Hey, everybody, the NHL trade deadline is upon us."
What's wrong with the NHL trade deadline? Why is the NHL catching strays?
No, it's nothing against the NHL. I'm saying the same thing about, the NBA trade deadline, the All-Star game and all the... Now, the good news is we're going to have...
As long as we don't have a June segment where it's like, hey, let's talk about our favorite sports movies.
Hey, we'll see you in June, by the way, with that very topic. I'm sure of it. All right.
Who's on your Mount Rushmore of sports legends? Give us a call, 801.
Yeah, I dread all of it. But you know what? We're pros. We march on. We anticipate that time will come. But for now, we've got football to celebrate. We've also got wild things going on in the world of college sports and the betting and all the things that go on here. Let's kick off the program with the cut as we do as usual. We'll get right into it because it's gotten so weird. It's gotten so convoluted, and it is an absolute disaster for collegiate sports, for professional sports. Let's do it right now. It's the cut, top of the program. Let's do it.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hey, by the way, today is going to be one of those fun days where we're able to give out even more extras that we have. You can enter to win a family 5-pack of tickets. You heard me right. 5 tickets to the Jazz coming up versus the Spurs on the 22nd. That's a week away from right now. If you listen all day today and you listen for those keywords in each of our shows, we give out a keyword. And then you call in, you give us the keyword, and you win that family 5-pack of tickets. So I'm not giving the keyword yet. Have we decided when we're going to do it? We're just going to drop it when it happens. Drop it when it's hot. I'm not going to tell anybody. Don't tell me the time. Fine. So you told me the time, but I'm not letting anybody else know. JJ and I will give the keyword for you to win the 5-pack of tickets when we darn well please. All right? That's just how it works. JJ, it's a mess with this college betting scandal. Have we heard anything about the Chauncey Billups deal and the whole NBA side of things?
Not at all. Nothing.
He's not coaching, though, right?
No, he's not. Tiago Splitter is the interim head coach of the Blazers.
I was just wondering if, maybe
he hasn't been fired, but
right.
Not sure of the situation technically.
I'm sure that they technically have to wait until something technically is and legally is a disaster, which we're headed toward. The federal government's not messing around. The FBI's not messing around. They have put together an extensive investigation that is now going to be with charges attached to it that now have players' names named, schools named, places where it happened, how it happened, games where the money was put down. The college basketball players that have been indicted or that have been charged by this FBI in connection with the point shaving scandal that they started to uncover and fixing the outcomes of games, 26 charged. Now, what's interesting about this is a former Chicago Bull, he's named in this as well, did not get charged, I think probably because he played ball. But he is named in this, and it started when he was approached by fixers. It's a real-life thing, JJ. It's not just in it's not just
Crazy.
the movies.
This isn't a movie. This is real life.
Approached by fixers, and what do? They don't go straight to the top and say, let's point shave the NBA Game 7 of the championship. Where did they start? Over in China. And this player was playing in China, had played in the NBA, starts playing in China, gets approached, and took a $200,000 cash bribe to basically run his own singular point shaving scam, right? I mean, that he was asked to do. And tons of money was put on it, and it was flying under the radar for a while, I'm sure. Then it started to work its way into the college side of things where this player would start to recruit other players to the tune of $10,000 to $30,000 a game to help point shave, and it happened across multiple universities. And what's wild about it is, and Napolis and I were going through this at the beginning of the show, we're looking at the names of the players. We're looking at how many schools were involved. Abilene Christian, Alabama State, Buffalo, Coppin State. Tell me what's in common with all these when we get to the end of this. Eastern Michigan, Fordham, Kennesaw State, LaSalle, New Orleans, Nicholls State, North Carolina A&T, Northwestern State, Robert Morris, St. Louis, Southern Miss, Tulane. What do they all have in common?
That's a good question.
Right off the bat, for me, it was like, oh, these are schools that nobody's going to be looking at.
Lower level, off the radar type of schools.
But good enough that bets are coming in. St. Louis is a good school,
but you
right?
just read off a bunch of schools that are regional as well. It's a lot of along the Mississippi schools.
Yeah.
I don't know what that has to do with anything.
Well, I mean, you think about like these are Division I programs.
Right.
And you see some of these teams as a 15, 16 seed sometimes in the NCAA tournament,
sure.
like Robert Morris.
Yeah.
You know. St. Louis was pretty darn good. That was a place that I think, isn't that where
Billikens, yeah. Rick Majerus
ended his career there. So there are teams on here, but they just the move was to say we're not going to try to garner too much attention. But then the greedy got even more greedy, and games were started to be bet on to the tune of $450,000, $500,000. That's gonna tip some people off.
Yeah,
that's gonna make people wonder what's going on. The Conference USA preseason player of the year for Kennesaw State is named in these allegations. And not only is he named in the allegations, his name's Simeon Cottle. He had 21 points last night in a win. 89-86 win over, who was it? It was like, some small school. And the immediate thing that I said to Napolis was, did this other team cover? 89-86 feels like, when they played Fordham or whatever, did they cover? Like 89-86. And this guy played last night.
Oh, wow.
He's named in this. There are other of the 26 that are playing this season. And these guys are part of this. And so the four players that are playing right now, Carlos Hart, Camion Shell, Umar Karasesi, Simeon Cottle, they have all played within days of right now. So this is going on right now. Now, they don't have allegations from this season. You know why? Because I bet they just got all the stuff from the other seasons and they're like finally being able, maybe they would have, and maybe the heat was too much. They already knew stuff was coming. Not them, but these fixers. How do we get to the point where over a dozen schools were involved in this at the NCAA level, an NBA coach in a separate but similar point shaving scheme is being investigated for the same type of behavior. And we look around and wonder, why on earth, how did this happen? What do you mean, how did it happen? I can't get online without being told that I need to get on Kalshi and bet on stupid odds on sports or anything else. I can't open an app anywhere before a pre-roll from BetMGM that tells me you could be a winner. I can't get on to any game with my kids hanging out who by the end go, Dad, how can you win $500,000? They just said you could win $500,000 with MGM cash. with fill in the blank, with there's so many of them. ESPN lost. They took their bet ESPN away, or ESPN Bet, or whatever it was. But they're all in bed with these betting houses.
A lot of young people love DraftKings.
How many players?
I hear kids talking about.
Oh my goodness! Right, and there were some of these that a lot of players who were underage, not 21. They're signing up with their parents and their parents' credit cards, and they're making these bets, and they're making these things happen. I don't know what to think about this, because there's going to be no version of this slowing down. Why would it slow down? When these kids, who, by the way, the other thing all these schools have in common, JJ, is none of these guys are going to get approached with NIL money that is going to be significant. So you have a motivation that guys who are making $3 million a year are like, don't ever approach me with that. I don't need your $20,000.
Yeah, the AJ DeBonces of the world are doing great, but what about that kid you mentioned at Kennesaw State?
But full rosters of Kentucky, Florida, Texas, even BYU.
Yeah.
Like, none of those guys are looking at it and going, I want $10,000.
Another reason why I'm sure they targeted the smaller schools. 100%.
And so they had guys who were looking for people who they said, hey, are you willing to do this? Because I know you could use the $30,000. You're good enough to get that $30,000 in NIL money. Don't you freaking deserve it, man? And however that phone call happened, the funniest part that I read in this allegation too was the way that initially you saw these payments start to happen. And these payments started to come in, or a $200,000 cash payment was made with a drop at a storage unit in Florida in the middle of nowhere. Like, of course it has to be straight out of Better Call Saul, right? Like, it has to be, it can't be, it's like, all right, Unit 61A, I'll roll up at 2 a.m. I'll drop the bag. In 2 days, you're going to come pick it up, all right? And then you'll have that cash. You figure out a way to get in your bank account. This is where we're at. It's become a Hollywood version because these kids are getting tempted to do it. The guys in the Chinese basketball league, they're not getting paid NBA money. They were fine to do it. And it's become this. I don't even know where to go with this, JJ, because I don't know when it would stop. Even if they were able to, they can't stop accepting the money from these betting groups. They won't. We know how it is in this business. It's hard to turn over a dollar. It's harder than it ever has been in our lifetime.
Oh, 100%.
For TV stations and radio stations to make money. And when somebody approaches those TV stations and these massive networks and say, hey, we will infuse you with $2 billion right now. We're going to buy up all the advertising that we can. And if it's not pharmaceuticals, it's betting. That's what you watch, or insurance companies. Those are the three big ones that you watch. Right. And you don't even realize how many of them you're consuming all day long.
You're watching ESPN. You're watching a basketball game. You were probably watching the BYU TCU game last night. Every single game on the ticker, there was a DraftKings spread put on there. They had it's not just putting scores on the ticker anymore. It's putting betting lines on the ticker.
I remember
when we were growing up, that's not what the ticker on SportsCenter on ESPN was used for.
It was shameful.
That's what it is now.
It was shameful when you did it because it was like, dude, that's disgusting.
Well, remember Jimmy the Greek on NFL Today?
Oh yeah.
Like
what about when you could call a 900 number for either gambling or to talk to a lady friend?
Right.
Like it's like, call up. I'm going to give you my best picks, and it's only $1.99 a minute for you to be able to get these picks.
My Stone Cold Lock.
Yeah, I mean, it was this hush hush thing. It was in the realm of call that 900 number, and make that bet, wink, and don't tell anybody because nobody can know that we're betting
now. It's
on
in
it.
your face every day, and it's obvious what's going on, and there's no apology for it. What do you think these young people are going to think? This is what they're growing up with. They have no idea what the consequences are of these things. None. And ESPN and these leagues, they don't want any accountability, or they don't care. They're making money. But you're pumping this stuff in front of everybody during every game. What are you going to think? Some kid's watching the game and he sees the ticker on the bottom. What's that about? What's DraftKings? What's -3 mean? What's an over/under?
Oh, my kids ask all this stuff. They're like,
you can bet. Oh my gosh, this is fun.
Yeah. So one of the things they're trying to do,
and we live in a world now where kids love that instant.
Oh yeah.
It's the dopamine hit of gambling. It goes right along with all these other things. The TikTok and the mass and the social media. just the instant gratification, the likes, and everything else. They live in this world now, and so gambling is becoming a part of that. So there should be no surprise that some college kid sees an opportunity like this, I'm going to make some bank, and doesn't see any moral issue with it.
Okay, on the back of all of these investigations rolling out, the now most worthless organization, I don't even know what its mission is anymore. But the NCAA has urged gambling commissions, as of today, they're reiterating something that they asked and requested back in 2023. How weak is that to request to these gambling commissions to not have these prop bets for these college games? And they're asking again. NCAA President Charlie Baker has asked gambling commissions again to adjust state laws and regulations to eliminate gambling on individual prop bets and other high-risk prop bets such as first-half unders, etc. So now those are the kinds of things where they would sneak it in. You got some money on this thing, and it's not just the over-under. It's the over-under on the first half. It's the amount of fouls this guy's going to have, the plus-minus on the points that somebody's going to score in an NHL game. Every time I'm watching it on the national televised deal, what do they have up on the screen? They put the two players from the team, they go, all right, J.J. Peterka, he has no goals tonight, but the over-under was a half a goal for him tonight. And then the other guy, it's the over-under is a half of an assist for him. And you're looking at it and you're going, when your kids look at it, they go, what does this mean? What is a half an assist?
But there it is on the screen right before the game starts.
And so they're asking, the NCAA goes, will you please just not do these prop bets anymore? That's a Band-Aid that will never stop the bleeding on the jugular of college sports.
They're laughing in the end and go, yeah, sure we will.
No, or they'll say, you know what? Yeah, you make a great point. And nothing will change because not even about who cares? The prop bets, you still have all the other ones that are happening during the rest of the game, which were the big things that were being bet on by these players. And they were able to put their hooks that we know of into 28 players who were willing to take between $10,000 and $30,000 per game for making it swing the direction of these fixers. Who is at the top running these fixers? I don't know. It all feels like Hollywood, so I just assume the mob, right? Don't you? That's the truth.
At this point,
I told you when I was growing up, my friend's dad was like, the NFL's fixed, the Gambino crime family's running it, and I was like, you are a nutcase, and he was, but I'm telling you,
I think
there's something to
who
it.
Knows,
I don't know who runs
it. Who
all.
knows? But obviously, there's some people out there, and whether it's that or something else, there's people out there that are just looking for any opportunity to take advantage of a situation, and then you've got these student athletes, I'll call them, that they want to make money. They're young and they're desperate for cash, and for different reasons. And when you inundate our young people with the idea that this is fun and this is okay, then why the lines are blurred? They're not going to see any legal or moral issue with this. So why not do this? Who cares?
The next one they
don't understand.
The next one that's going to come up is officials, assistant coaches. I think you're going to see more and more names start to pop up because you can get right to the players. Those are the ones that are on the floor and they can make some things happen, right? But
you keep peeling the onion back.
Yeah, they said
we've seen it before.
Part of his letter that I actually agree with Commissioner Baker from the NCAA is, look, we're begging you here. We're talking about the health and safety and well-being of these athletes and the coaches and the officials. And for the sake of the actual competition. I'm glad he put that last because in the end, it's a weird thing. You don't shave the points well enough and you don't get paid and you start to lose money for some people who are in high places.
They'll be angry.
That's weird, man. It's straight out of a movie again.
Yep.
It's straight out of a Hollywood script. And there's not going to be anything done about it. And, I don't know where the rest of sports will land because at some point you're just going to look at it and go, was the result of that game real? Did we see like a pure competition in that game? And for a lot of people, that's already left the building when NIL did, when rev share started, when massive collectives were pouring money into the pockets of these athletes. And again, they don't have to go to the top anymore because the top guys are getting paid already. It's not worth it to them. So where do we get on all this, JJ? The answer is there is no fix to this.
Is that a pun?
I know.
Well done.
I'm telling you.
What a way to end that segment, Alex.
I'm just telling you.
Go.
There's no way to fix this thing. There's no way to put any of this behind you. It's going to be forever with us, and it's only going to get worse because we rung a bell that cannot be unrung. There's no end to this.
No.
There is no solution.
The only solution is education.
People getting
consequences.
People getting indicted. 28 people here. I mean, we're talking. You know that the number is way bigger.
Yeah.
You know that they're way ahead thinking of it. Dude, criminals are so dang smart. They're so ahead of the game. And the FBI has to follow so many protocols, so many rules, all the investigations. They're years behind whatever these guys are coming up with next. And it's going to just keep going. So no bow or button on this subject because it will never stop. And that's the unfortunate thing about letting gambling into the sports as much as we have. It's crazy. So, RIP, great competition. Anyway, let's talk about college football playoff coming up around the corner. We got a
brought to you by DraftKings.
Was that too much of a downer? Did I just ruin it? Hey, sports aren't real anymore. We'll be back after this.
Well, I guess we don't have to do this show anymore.
Oh, gosh dang it. All right, we'll take a break. We've got more around the corner. I told you we've got a family 5-pack of tickets to give away to the Jazz. We're going to give away our keyword at some point in the show today. And you call in with that keyword and tell us what it is, and you're going to get that pack of 5 tickets to the Jazz and the Spurs next week. We'll come back. Let's talk to Utah Mammoth. They have a game tonight. The Jazz have a game tonight. We got lots in front of us. Stay here, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
The exclusive home of the Utah Mammoth is on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
As he pedals up the left flank, he shoots and scores! Dylan Gunther fires a frozen row, almost too good to believe. Nobody knew it was in. So far this evening, and it's 2-0. Gunther on the attack again. He scores again! Dylan Gunther goes back to back. Paterka shoots, and he scores! Boone had the screen, Paterka the shot, and it's 4-0. Another one of the new line combos finds the magic touch for head coach Andre Tierney.
You're locked into JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. That's right. It's a hockey Thursday for you. Big one for this Mammoth team who are coming home or staying home, I guess, on this 7-game home stand. This is game number 5, yes, of that 7-game homestand. The Dallas Stars, who are one of the best teams in the NHL, although they haven't been playing great hockey of late, they're still way ahead of everybody else.
Yeah.
They're still well behind the Avalanche, but so is everybody else also. These are all in the same division, by the way, of the Utah Mammoth. Two of the best teams out there, and the Dallas Stars are 13 points ahead of the Mammoth in the playoff race. It's everybody just trying to chase down that second and third place in this division. And big one tonight. Now, the good news is we heard from Mike Folty yesterday that this team plays well against Dallas. They match up well, and that's a good thing. So I'm excited about this one. I think that beating Dallas would be as big as – I mean, it's a bigger deal than beating Toronto from the divisional standpoint. So
100%.
Looking forward to tonight because it's going to be a good matchup, and their last 2 matchups have been a total of 15 goals between the two teams, and they've been close, 5-3, 5-4. These are all fun games to be able to watch, and I think that the Dallas Stars are one of those teams that you look up to and go, okay, they have a very similar vibe of the Utah Mammoth. They have an Olympic quality goaltender. They've got a couple of guys who are on that almost superstar status, but certainly they're phenomenal players. But they have great lines 1 through 4. And I think that it's the kind of thing where Bear has tweaked this thing enough, Is that lineup going to stay? I would assume they're going to keep it the same way, where Gunther is going to be on that same line with Peterka to see if they can kind of drum something up here. And I'm hoping that they do. Hoping tonight's a big one for the Mammoth, man.
Yeah, you bring up the fact that the Stars have cooled off lately. They've only won 2 of their last 10 games.
Yep.
They have 4 overtime losses and four losses, so they've been able to get some points during that stretch, but just 2 outright wins. This is a Stars team that looks beatable right now, and this is an opportunity for the Mammoth with 2 games against the Stars at home in this January stretch to get these guys. This is a measuring stick game. You want to know how good you are? Then go beat one of the best. And based on points in the league, the Dallas Stars are the second best team in the league.
Yeah.
And so go prove yourself and prove to everybody where you're at. This Mammoth team is capable. But you want to see where you stand against the league's best. And I think that the Mammoth have risen to the occasion. They've battled Colorado really well this year when they played them. Actually got one of those games and got a win. You want to see this team show how they can do against the league's best, and I want to see that tonight. And it's really important that they continue this stretch with getting some points. At least push these guys to overtime, right? At least get that point. These are the games where you're okay with getting a point, because overtime's weird. Just get a point out of this game, and that would be huge.
Well, this is one of the few times that the schedule is in the favor of the Mammoth, because they have this stretch of home games, and they've had a brutal road-heavy first half of the season. And they're going to be able to get back to a spot where it's going to even itself out. They're going to have way more home games in the second half than they do road games. And so I think that's something also you need to consider, is that they're coming back around to not having that brutal schedule. Everybody else is coming in and going maybe a little bit more wear on them. They certainly used to their advantage the other night when Toronto was a night removed from playing the best team in hockey just the night before. So that was an emotional win for them too, on top of it.
Yeah.
So it's like the reverse of what the Jazz did. 55-point loss and then go out and beat the tar out of somebody.
Yeah.
It was winning by 55 and then coming in and going, I'm tired tonight.
Then those circumstances
I'm
play
okay
into
with it.
games. For
Absolutely.
sure.
Absolutely.
And I'm looking at the schedule right now, and it's home heavy, but it's brutal. There are 4 road games packed in here before they break. But Dallas, Seattle, Philadelphia, on the road at Nashville, on the road at Tampa, on the road at Florida, the defending Cup champs, on the road at Carolina, a really good team, and then Dallas again, back home before they take on Vancouver and Detroit before the break. These are some of the best teams in the league. Detroit and Dallas, again, having to play them. Vancouver's that one game on the schedule here against a team that is not currently in the playoff picture. One game before the break out of, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Their next 10 games, only one team out of the next 10 is not in the playoff picture. While it's home heavy, these are heavy hitters, and they got to go out there and prove that they can battle against these teams, because if you want to be in the Stanley Cup playoffs, you got to prove you belong. And what better way to prove you belong than beating these other teams that are going to be in the mix and going to be in the Stanley Cup playoffs? This is a very important stretch for the Utah Mammoth. I believe this stretch between now and the Olympic break will define their season.
Did you stay up late last night watching some college basketball? Because I did.
Oh, yeah. It was fun. What? I kind of enjoyed watching. First of all, shout out to the Utah State Aggies. They are absolutely a juggernaut right now. Yeah. I watched that game. As soon as that game was done, I flipped over to TCU BYU. I'm actually really interested in watching BYU when things aren't going well.
Yeah, they struggled.
And I like what I'm seeing with how they're responding.
When did they take their first lead? It was like with 4 minutes left in the entire game. And they struggled. They were behind the entire way.
And give TCU credit.
You just saw him fighting back. And Kevin Young made mention of it in the postgame, too. He said the same thing. Yeah. He goes, I just love watching what you guys can do when you're hit with adversity, because, you know, they've had moments. Of course, they've played really, really good teams this year, and they've had to rise to the occasion on those things. They had a stretch there where all they were doing was making these massive comebacks, you know, to be able to win games. And then they started to get to the spot where they're beating up teams in the first half and running away with it in the second. And last night was a reminder, I think, to Kevin Young's guys that the Big 12 doesn't mess around. It's a conference that's deep. It's a conference that's tough. And TCU coming in and going, we don't care. We don't care you have a big student section and a loud arena. We're going to come in and fight. And that was a nice one for them to be able to come back and get it. But, yeah, the Aggies are what? They're 15-1.
Yeah.
How many have they won in a row? Same kind of deal.
They're red hot, and they're 6-0 in conference, and it's not even close. They're beating teams by double figures.
But it's not even just 6-0 in conference. It's like they've played tough teams in the conference. Wolfpack had only lost one game until last night in conference play. So
Nevada's 12-5 on the season. That was their second conference loss. Yeah.
So they're doing it. I just don't understand how Utah State keeps doing it with different coaches. The insanity of every year to see who they're going to get to come in there and punch the ticket to the NCAA tournament. And like so many other teams are, there's a 17-year drought of being in the NCAA tournament or whatever. I mean, and Utah State goes, we don't really care who the coach is. We're just gonna put them in the NCAA tournament.
Let's go find a coach. We'll round up a few players. We play in the Spectrum. We're gonna win games.
It's wild.
It's really. I know it's not that simple, but it feels like it, and it's a formula that's worked for them. But Coach Calhoun is coaching his butt off up there, and they got some dudes. That's a good team.
Yeah.
This might be the best Aggie team of the last few years of success. I'm serious, and they've had some really good teams. I mean, you had Namish Keita and Sam Merrill on a team together. Just as a team, you're looking at the entire team, the way it's built, the way they perform. They actually may be just as good or better than those teams, and that's a scary thought for everybody else in the Mountain West. One more thought I wanted to share about BYU is, some BYU fans may have been frustrated that they were struggling with the Horned Frogs last night. Look, there are no nights off in the Big 12. Mm-hmm. You know who the bottom two teams in the league are right now? Utah and Kansas State. And even those games were bloodbaths, man. They had to go down to Manhattan and fight and claw and scratch to put them away. And we all saw what the Utah game was like at the Huntsman Center. There are no nights off for this team. And that's why I bring up the fact that I think that it's really fascinating to watch them battle when things aren't going their way, fighting through foul trouble, overcoming the fact that the three ball's not falling. What is that team made of? Because we know how good they are. We know what they're like when things are going well. That team is really responding well to adversity. I think they're mentally tough, and that's going to come through in March.
The Big 12 has the number 1 and number 2 teams in the country right now in the AP Top 25 in Arizona and Iowa State. Houston's at 7, just lurking there, ready to murder everybody.
16-1, 4-0 in conference.
They've
won 10 in a row.
BYU's number 11. They've won how many in a row?
13 in a row.
So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 that are in the top 11. And then you have Texas Tech. By the way, Utah had to go number 9 BYU and then hit the road and go right to Texas Tech. That's who's number 15 and a really, really good team. And they fought their butts off and lost last night. But that's the way that it goes, right, in this conference. And so there you go. In the top 25, you got 6 Big Ten teams. And it's just but they're not just in the top 25. They're up there. Like they are some of the best contenders here. The bracketology most recently has, I think BYU's a 3 seed in the NCAA tournament. And again, I mean, it's so tough to get ahead of anybody in college basketball. And man, Gonzaga does the same thing. It's like, you might forget about us for a minute, but we still end up being a top 10 team. Like they're number 9 right now.
Crazy.
17-1. Okay, we'll take a break. Is that a Pac-12 team? Yeah, baby.
Soon to be. Hey, those Gonzaga-Utah State games are going to be fun next year.
Yes, they will. All right. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Before we do, just want to remind you, Beehive Meals has this awesome Hero of the Week contest that we've been doing for a long time now. And what you do is you just nominate a youth sports volunteer in your neighborhood for this Beehive Meals Hero of the Week. How does it work? You nominate a person. If it's a team mom, if it's a coaching assistant, if it's somebody who just does an amazing job in the background for a team, for a sport in your community, for whatever it might be, hit us up. Go to kslsports.com/contest. And every week, JJ and I, we read those winners off, and every winner gets $250 to Beehive Meals. And that is an awesome prize, by the way. But more importantly, let's honor people who are doing good things. Let's recognize good things in the community. Go to kslsports.com/contest. If somebody is making an impact in youth sports in your neighborhood, nominate them today. They win $250 in Beehive Meals, and you can also honor them over the radio. JJ and I love talking about those people because we've had amazing folks who've won that thing. All right, we'll We'll come back. We'll take a break. Around the corner, we've got ourselves a Would You Rather. Stay here, 97.5 KSL Sports Zone.
Listen, everybody. Real-life hypotheticals to get your brain churning. As JJ and Alex ask, would you rather?
All right, everybody. Welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 KSL Sports Zone. Ooh. We'll talk about it during the NFL Blitz, but I was thinking about this because it looks like John Harbaugh, I guess we haven't gotten the official word yet, right? But it's basically a done deal.
Yeah.
It's going to be Jackson Dart's head coach at the Giants, and it's a massive deal. Would you rather be an NFL head coach in New York or an NBA head coach in New York?
NBA head coach.
Really? Because I feel like the Knicks, like like the Knicks are the team that the city will burn down if they don't,
Who said you have to be the head coach of the Knicks?
Oh yeah, I wasn't thinking of Brooklyn Nets. Sorry, but like the Giants,
that's a pretty cush job.
Giants over the Jets, like that. No one thinks about the Jets compared to the Giants.
They do. And that's why there's so much angst about it.
For the wrong reason. It's not a good franchise.
Oh, I know. I get it. But there's something about New York. Like the Giants have had a lot of success over the years, right? But the Jets are the most popular bad team in all of pro sports. And I don't understand it. I mean, you watch SportsCenter or you watch a national broadcast about the NFL, and the Jets come up all the time. Now, I get it. There's a lot of people in New York that are probably trying to get that target audience when they talk about these things, but there's a lot of Jets fans out there. They're long-suffering, and they've stuck by their team for a long, long time. A lot of people back in the late 60s fell in love with the Jets and Broadway Joe, and it was passed down to generations. But that franchise has let them down ever since.
Oh, dang it. The opponents were revealed for the NFL next year.
Yes.
In early January. They always do it. It was like 10 days ago.
Yeah.
So then I was like, ooh, I got to go find if the Giants play the Chargers. They don't.
Bummer.
By the way, could you get further away from one another coaching? Boy, you'd hate to be.
One's in the AFC, one's in the NFC, one's on the West Coast, one's on the East Coast. They probably like it that way.
You'd hate to be brother and sister Harbaugh, having to buy those tickets.
Could get expensive.
Yeah, flying across the country.
Do you want to watch your son coach, though? Is that really exciting?
Oh, those guys.
We're traveling all over the country watching our boys coach. I'm not sure I really want to do that.
I saw in the third quarter, going in at the half, you dodged that water bottle going in. That was a good move. Really like what you're doing there, son. Yeah, of course
Jim,
you want to be
those
there.
khakis are just a little high. I want to loosen the belt there.
Jim is, those glasses he wears are, yeah. He looks like he's wearing those Coke bottle glasses, man. It's awesome.
It's pretty crazy that it came out. It was going around social media the other day because the NFL Network did some kind of thing on it. But the Jim Harbaugh has more rushing yards in NFL history than Bo Jackson.
Yeah. Yeah, that was why I saw that. And they were asking John about it.
Yeah.
And he's throwing guesses out there. And he's like, no, not him. No way. He could have easily just thought about his brother. But at the same time, you don't want to, Well, one, I guess it's because Jim Harbaugh you have a long enough career, and Bo Jackson had a short enough career that,
But if you asked, what current head coach has more rushing yards than Bo Jackson?
It's hard to boot it up.
Jim Harbaugh would never enter your brain.
Although you and I watched him play a million games when we were kids.
He was a baller.
Yeah.
I remember he pushed a Colts team to the AFC title game one year. I'm like, this team's not good.
He was feisty.
He was a competitor. He was good.
All right, here we go. We're going to take a break. Around the corner, this is going to be a fun one because I'll tell you what, anytime we can sit down and chat with JT, Jonathan Tavernari, former BYU Cougars forward, a guy who knows a lot about college basketball. We're going to talk about what college basketball looks like, feels like. I even want to bring up the gambling thing with him. Not about whether or not he participated or not, but now when you hear these things and what these college kids are going through.
We're going to get JT with a confession here shortly?
Nah, statute of limitations.
Yeah, I bet he saw some crazy stuff in Europe when he was playing in Europe.
He got some extra ramen sent to his room when he was in college. Those guys,
that's high currency.
Those guys who are just short.
Provo, trust me.
Those guys who are just short of getting to this era, like that is, it's tough to watch the way things are now, and they go, it would have been nice to get $1 million in my pocket when I was playing, because Stevenson Sylvester, Sly, don't tell him I said this. Sly is an $800,000 a year guy, right? At Utah, like
if Jona Hall's making,
that's what I'm saying. Like
cash right now.
Sly
would have done that.
After his second year at Utah, he threatens to hit the transfer portal.
Can you imagine what he would have got in 2009 after the Sugar Bowl?
I would just sort of imagine he would have been a middle linebacker at USC, because they would have offered him more money.
Sly would have jumped in the portal.
That's what I'm saying.
All the stuff he said about the portal and the modern game,
but he's also
Sly totally would have went in the portal.
But Sly is a businessman.
That's right.
You guys both know that he's a businessman, and he would. I know. I'm just telling you, Sly. The money that was out there for you, you probably would have had $3 million in your pocket at the end of college, if you would have been born later. Anyway, we'll take a break. We'll come back. More to go. JT joins us next. 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen,
the biggest name. You're locked into JJ and Alex. With the insight and analysis on the teams you can't live without. This is 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, JJ and Alex. 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone. Yeah, that's a party vibe. Celebrate all those gambling wins right before you get scooped up by the FBI.
Yeah.
What a weird story.
It's crazy.
It's affected me. Like I'm a little bit shook by all this, because we've talked about how all of these things could be more prevalent, right? The gambling stuff. But 28 guys getting picked up, including a handful of guys that one guy who played last night and was his conference is the Conference USA Offensive Player of the Year, preseason Offensive Player of the Year. He's averaging over 20 points a game. He had 21 last night, and they won 89-86. And my first question was, well, did they won, but did the other team cover? Like, that's a real question.
Right.
And I would assume that these guys and their names that are attached to it, if they're able to get a conviction, they will never play basketball in the NCAA again. In fact, who would ever touch them at any level of the sport? So it's just been fascinating to see the whole thing, and it's just sickening, because it's happening at a larger level. It's happening at it's a bigger deal than we're rolling on here. So, all right, we're going to get into the cut right here. Let's jump in. Jonathan Tavernari, he of course is former forward for BYU basketball. He joins the program periodically. Love having him on. Love the energy. Let's get the cut going right now and get to JT. Let's do it.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
Jonathan Tavernari joined the program again. JT, thanks for hanging out, man. How's it going?
I miss you guys. I thought you forgot about me.
No.
Never.
No.
Never.
We've been too busy watching football, JT, but now it's basketball season. We're locked in.
I'll say, too, you've got me. College basketball has me watching college basketball earlier than I ever do. I never watch it this early and this intently. So congrats. We're watching more college basketball earlier than ever.
Let me remind you guys that one of the reasons why I converted to the Mormon church is because they have a basketball court in every single chapel. They don't have football fields and goalposts. They have basketball hoops, okay? So it's basketball season, guys. Let's go.
Fair enough. Well, let's get into it with the Cougs. 11th ranked in the country right now. Somehow dropped in the polls last week, but I don't know. You can get into that if you want. But they had to grind one out last night. What did it say about BYU last night as you're watching that game? What did you learn about the Cougars after that win?
That Mr. A.J. DeBanza, even at half speed and sick as a dog, is probably better than 99% of the other basketball players in the world. And the fact that man was sick under the weather and he still came out and was the leading scorer with 25 points, it was unreal. And, it was very, I'm going to say something that people are going to think I'm crazy, but it was kind of like, Jordan-esque with the flu. You could tell that he wasn't good. There was a time in the first half that he got bumped and he went on the ground. And you guys know that feeling when you're kind of sick and maybe you stub your toe or you hit something and you're just like, oh, I don't even want to move anymore. And AJ got up and he went to work. And so what I learned is that boy is resilient. Richie Saunders has, the confidence that probably rivaled mine because he was 0 for 6 and he shot a 3-pointer with a minute to go that put BYU up 5. And, they're rolling right now. They're 16-1 and, they have a few top 15 matchups coming up in the next week and a half. And this team is different. This team is special.
Kevin Young mentioned that too. He goes, I thought AJ was going to die out there, and it was, and everyone chuckled, and it was like, no, we need you out there. You got to be out there. That's what you talk about how AJ, Rob Wright III, Richie Saunders, like those guys are doing so much work. Is there there's a version of watching this thing, and I'm sure BYU fans are a little bit nervous because you're like, hey, one of those guys goes down. The NCAA, tournament looks way more bleak. Can you do that? Can you maintain something like this with the 3 guys and hope that everybody else is also going to show up on nights when maybe it's only 1 for 3 of those guys is working, or maybe only
or you shoot 5 of 24 from 3,
or none of them are right?
Well, Alex and JJ, knock on wood, as a former Catholic, I'm crossing myself. Because if any of those guys go down, you can kiss this season goodbye. And I think that's just a situation because if you look at the way that they had planned for this team, Kevin Young had planned for Nate Pickens to be a backup guard to Robert Wright, where maybe Robert doesn't have to play 33 minutes a game. He can play 29. He can play 28. You don't think that that's a big difference, those 4 or 5 minutes, but it's a massive difference. And then you think of, okay, Nate Pickens is down for the season. Who's next up? Well, Dawson Baker is next up. Had an amazing game for BYU against UConn a few months back in Boston, and then he goes down with an injury. And so some of the other guys, especially on the guard lineup, just aren't up to the level that they need to be. Much more was expected from Alexei Kostic, the guard that came from Europe, and he is barely getting any playing time. Tyler Moretz and Mihailo Boskovic needed to be knocking the 3 ball a little bit more than they are. And so, on the post, they're kind of sad where they had Kebaketa, the former Utah Ute. They have Abdullah Ahmed, the transfer from the G League, and then Kadeem Boop, a transfer from the NBA Africa Academy. And so that rounding up with, Richie Saunders, AJ DiBanza, Kennard Davis Jr., they're kind of in a solid place. But, as a guard play, I think that they could do without maybe Richie Saunders, which is kind of crazy to think because he's playing at such a high level, before they could ever do without AJ or even without Robert Wright III.
They got the win against TCU, but we'd love to get your thoughts on their win over Utah. I know you love that BYU Utah rivalry, and you had some great games against the Utes, and you had a lot of experiences in the Huntsman Center. What was it like for you to see it the way it was on Saturday? That place was rocking, and we had a great game. And a lot of people are looking at BYU. Why didn't you win that game by more? But that felt like the old days a little bit.
Well, listen, you're putting it mildly conservative. I played Utah 9 times and I won 7. That is the famous B2A, which I won't express what that means, but it is bell to the rear end for those that are listening. And so, but I will say this. I mean, JJ, we've known each other for over 20 years.
Yeah.
You covered a lot of Utah games. a rivalry game, you throw everything out of the window and you are in for a dogfight. And that's what it was. Credit to Utah, credit to Alex Jensen for having the boys ready to go. Terrence Brown is an amazing, amazing player. He's going to look awesome in BYU blue next year. And, I mean, there's just so many things about that game, like Keanu Dawes, related to a former teammate of mine at BYU, played really well. They had shooters. And can I say, this is not a dig to Utah. When the Huntsman is packed the way it was on Saturday, what an arena that is. Man, that's a top 25 college arena. And, there are a few reasons why that doesn't happen more often. It really should. But that was an incredible college basketball environment. And so BYU just did what they had to do to win. The fact that they won and they fell on the rankings, it's the stupidest thing in the world. But, at the end of the day, the net matters a little bit more than everything else right now. And BYU stays solid, around the top 10. At the end of the day, they're going to play Texas Tech on the road on Saturday, and it's going to be a big game because if they win, I can imagine them not being at least 9 in the country. And then with Arizona and Iowa State coming up, geez Louise Jeepers, mister, if they win those games, I mean, I have a hard time not seeing BYU being top 3 or top 4 in the country at that point.
Jonathan Tavernari joining us on the program, former BYU forward and also hot take haver across the board there. JT, I want to know your thoughts on. We started the show off talking about just an absolute pall across the sports world, which is the college basketball point shaving scandal, where now 28 players, including a handful who are still playing for their teams, in fact, played last night for their teams, are being charged with point shaving and taking between $10,000 and $30,000 a game, allegedly, from fixers to make sure that point spreads were had, whatever it might be, to tip it in the direction. I mean, in my mind, I'm going, oh, this has always happened, but I would only assume it's only gotten worse with how much betting has infiltrated the entire sports world.
Well, how can it not? I mean, that's the thing, right? I mean, you look at what happened in the NBA and, obviously being a member of the Brazilian national team when I was at BYU, I got to play with Thiago Splitter, who is now the head coach of the Trailblazers. I mean, look even at the gambling situation that happened over there with Chauncey Billups, that, he had to step aside. And, with, I think it was a former Jazz player, I forgot his name now, Malik Beasley, I think.
Yes.
It was the shooter that he was with the Pistons. I mean, let's be realistic, guys. You can really have the ticker on ESPN showing the over, under, and the spread and how to bet. You can have betting be embedded in all of the main sports show and sports media. I mean, you can really have all of that and not expect for something like this to happen. You know what I mean? And especially at this day and age where you're getting NIL and you're getting money, it's a byproduct of everything that we're experiencing right now. Has it happened a lot in the past? Absolutely has. Do I personally know of situations, I've tried to stay out of that stuff. And so I can wholeheartedly say I've never experienced any gambling or point shaving of seen it, all of the things that you're witnessing. But, it's a byproduct of everything that's happening. I mean, transfer portal, you can transfer. I mean, Jeremiah, when you and I met and I was being recruited, you couldn't even barely transfer once, let alone every year in between college careers, right?
You couldn't transfer to another school in your conference.
But you lost a year of eligibility when you did that. And so all of this is ludicrous, and just to highlight your point, Alex, I will say this. Just after I graduated from BYU, I was at a bookstore waiting for a flight, and I bought Technical Foul, or whatever it was called, the Tim Donahue book. Yeah. And I actually reached out to Tim Donahue, and he actually agreed to meet with me, and I had lunch with him once. And I will say this, probably he did a great job, mastering the story that he told. There was a part of me that believed him. But there is also a big part of me that, you truly understand the tendencies and players' habits and all of this stuff. And so I will say this, since you said that I'm a hot taker, I'm surprised that more hasn't been uncovered at this point.
Yeah, and one of the points we were making too was it's never going to stop. It won't stop. It's only going to get worse. It's going to get easier to be able to maybe bust some of these guys, but I don't think that and again, it was kind of a brilliant plan because they're getting guys $10,000 to $30,000 a game, they said. And these are the guys, obviously, that are not the big money NIL guys. There are all these kind of second-tier Division I schools and guys that you would just kind of forget about, and they're not getting $1 million. So, obviously, you could roll up to them and say, hey, we'll give you $25,000 for throwing this game. You're not making any NIL money like the guy across the street, and you deserve it, don't you? And they probably believe that. And putting $30,000 into a pocket of a kid every game that they participate in something like this, it's hard to make that temptation go away since money is already just revolving around the game at the rate that it is.
I mean, I will say this. When I was at BYU and I was with the Brazilian national team, I was the only player out of a 12-man roster that was not a professional. I was struggling in Rio de Janeiro. I had to eat 3 meals a day at the hotel. Now, people say, well, you were staying at a hotel. I'm like, yeah, because all of my teammates were going to, 5-star steakhouses and going out to eat every day. And I was there with the coaching staff staying at the hotel. I mean, can I tell you how many times I was offered, to just be in Brazil and a sponsorship on here, or a few $1,000 in there. And I credit a lot of this to Leandro Barbosa and JP Batista from Gonzaga, because it was hard. There were times that I was so down that I was saying no. And my teammates were like, just hang in there. You know how good you are. You're going to get your turn. Anderson Varejao threw a celebrity game for a charity benefit where he was trying to collect money, but people had to pay tickets to see. I wasn't cleared by the NCAA to play. And the NCAA said if he even dresses and we see him on the bench, he is going to be fined and he is going to be suspended. Wow. And so Dave Rose and Dave Rice were on the phone with me on a Sunday and saying, you better not play. You better not play. You're going to get in trouble. Wow. And there are pictures of me sitting over there, having gone to church in Rio and sitting on the stands where I paid a ticket to go watch my freaking teammates play. Wow. Because if they had let me in, it would have been a violation. And so now, to you guys' point, the network that I've built, the relationships that I've built, JJ is one of them. Those things to me are priceless. I had my career, in Europe. I have a great career in the tech space now. But the way things are now are just ludicrous. And, you have opened up a Pandora box. We could spend a whole week talking over here on segments about all of this. There's no putting the genie back on the box. And that goes to NIL, money, transfer portal, and unfortunately, some of the vices of life like gambling and point shaving.
Yeah, JT, I hate that you had to go through the extreme on one end, but then I see the extreme on the other end. I wish there was some kind of oversight or some kind of, a commissioner or somebody that could find a way to get us back to the middle where it should be, where players can benefit, but we don't have this wild, wild west going on where people can be taken advantage of like we're seeing with this story today. Jimmer Fredette getting his jersey retired on February 14th. About time. Your reaction to your former teammate finally getting his name put up in the rafters.
Well, a couple of things. First one is I texted him and I said, if I don't get a steak dinner out of this thing, I'm going to be very mad. Lo and behold, he said, absolutely, let's have a dinner the day before of the jersey retirement. So at least I'm going to get something out of this, guys, and I'm happy about that. With all jokes aside, I was there for, 3 out of the 4 years with Jimmer. Obviously, I missed Jimmermania. I was a rookie in Europe at that point. But I will say this. I got to see this dude from when he came in as a freshman, where he didn't really understand how he could impact the college game, sometimes struggle at length in practice, to pretty much have one of the greatest individual single seasons in NCAA history, And all of the things that you hear about hard work, discipline, commitment, focus, you don't have, there's not enough adjectives to highlight all of the effort that it went in from Jimmer's perspective for him to be as good as he became. It was great to see, right? My senior year, you could see that we were kind of bumping a little bit because of my style of play and him needing more attention with the ball, which is why I told Coach Rose, I said, bring me off the bench. I will figure it out. Jimmer and Tyler Haws need their roles. They need to be, be highlighted more. And man, we went on a 15 game winning streak. And just to see the man that he became, he truly is a basketball global icon. And, everybody knows him from Brazil to Canada, all the way to China. And the best part is he hasn't changed. Still makes the same stupid jokes. Still takes all of our calls. Still giggles the way he always had. Couldn't be happier for a better guy. And he did break me my 3-point record. But JJ, I think it's pretty safe to say that if the guy had to have the greatest season in NCAA college history to be able to break my 3-point record, it's pretty good company to be in.
Absolutely, JT. There's
Look,
no doubt about that.
I was just going to say, is the number 45 going to be up there at some point? Because I'm looking at some pretty good career numbers here, JT. I mean, let's just put a presentation together maybe for Brian Santiago and we can figure this thing out, man.
I would appreciate that, and but I got to tell you, BYU has done so much for me, and I know we're coming up at time, and just to wrap it up, I feel like the way college basketball used to be with the rivalries and the entire the way that it used to be, right, where you had the pageantry and the regional battles, that has gone away, and it makes me really sad. It's a byproduct of this day and age. And to your point, I went through one side of the extreme. We're now experiencing the other. But BYU meant so much to me. I mean, the fact that you guys have me on, obviously I had a really good career. I can't be considered one of the greats at BYU, but these things matter, and not being able to build their relationship with people, it's something that these kids are going to suffer, and because there's no price to it once you get to a certain day and age. And so I appreciate you guys having me. This is great. And I will definitely ping you guys offline so we can schedule a meeting with Santiago about some things that need to happen.
I could put together a pretty darn good Photoshop and some things too. I mean, we could game up some of these pictures. I could make it look like you're jumping higher. We could bump up some of those looks there for you. So we're going to be on your team to see if number 45 can get
Love it.
retired.
I appreciate it, guys.
There you go.
JT, you're the best.
Thanks, man. We'll talk to you again.
Take care, guys. Have a good day.
There you go.
He's running through some of those names he played with, and
it's wild. It was a great stretch of basketball.
I had so much fun covering those teams. They not only were they incredible, and went on runs in the tournament, just good dudes, like really good guys, and he's totally right about everything. And Jimmer's not changed, and there's a reason why. I think that it was the one thing on the court, but it was the other thing of just a down to earth, good human being that people really latched onto, and all those guys were great. There wasn't like a bad egg on those teams. Well coached. Dave Rose and his staff were great. What a great run they had, and he's right, and I'm glad he brought it up. His legacy matters, and all those guys he played with left a legacy. Tyler Haws and Jimmy Fredette, and Keaney Young was a great player back in those times, and the list goes on and on of great players, and fans remember them. Now these players are in a place for 6 months. Nobody's going to remember them, and that's a missed opportunity for these guys. And so, it's good to hear JT talk about how much of a difference BYU made in his life and his teammates, because that is missing today.
Let's take a break. We'll come back. We have more around the corner, including we've got ourselves an NFL Blitz. Yeah, John Harbaugh looks like going to the Giants. That's expected to happen maybe in the next 24 hours, but we'll see if he passes the background check. All right? I think that's what they're pending right now. Drug test, background check, all of it. Let's go. All right, we've got more to talk about. NFL playoffs next, 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone.
All the latest news and notes from the league and the locals in the NFL. JJ and Alex bring you the NFL Blitz on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Thanks for being with us on the program. I think we're getting closer and closer to that key word, you guys, for somebody to win those 5 tickets to a Jazz game coming up next week. Stay tuned for that keyword and be ready to dial it up. See if you can beat everybody else to the punch. And then the bonus is you get to talk with Alex Napolis. So that's going to be the bonus. Oh, they just go online to do it? Okay.
Oh.
If you want to call Alex
That's not
Napolis,
as fun.
though, if you want to call Alex Napolis, though, 801-575-ZONE, just like talk to him, just see how he's doing. If there's any ladies out there listening, give it a shot. 801-575-ZONE. That's our new. You don't need to lean on the dating apps, Napolis. We got you, man. A weekly segment of just reaching out to people going, hey, I got a cousin. Oh. Hans and Scotty are going to be at Tim Daly Mazda in Sandy tomorrow, 10785 South Auto Mall Drive. Hans and Scotty, noon to 3. Join him there. John Harbaugh expected to sign with the Giants. Tell me about this one for both sides, John Harbaugh and the Giants.
Feels like a perfect marriage to me. When the Giants have really high-level head coaches, they get to Super Bowls. Tom Coughlin. I think Jim Fossil was that and became that in the NFL and got them to a Super Bowl. Bill Parcells, obviously. When they have the right guy in that chair, they can be great. But they have, for some reason, really done a poor job hiring coaches of the last decade. Just go back and look at the list. I'm not going to read it. It's just none of the guys that they hired got another job. It's that bad. So this is an obvious proven head coach with a long track record of success, winning consistently in Baltimore. And he comes to New York with that young roster, with a quarterback already in place in Jackson Dart, with a running back already in place, with a star receiver who's going to be coming off an injury but should be back to being a star again. You got a good young core. You add some pieces. I think their pass rush is great. They got good defense. Stack up that offensive line. Protect Jackson Dart, keep him clean, let him do what he does, let him cook, get Cam Scatteraboo out in the open field in pass game and the run game, and the Giants can be a force. There's a gap there or a space open or a void for a team like the Giants to make some headway in the NFC East. I think the Eagles are starting to slip a little bit. The Commanders had a nice season last year. Obviously a bad year this year. The Cowboys are always going to be mid because Jerry can't get out of his own way. This is an awesome hire for the Giants. Suddenly you look at the division, it's like, who's the best coach in that division? Yep. Would you rather have John Harbaugh or Nick Sirianni? Nick Sirianni's won a Super Bowl. I don't mean any disrespect.
Right.
I'm trying
I know what you're saying.
Well, you see what I'm saying is I'm telling you, you have a heck of a lot more respect for John Harbaugh than you do for Nick Sirianni.
Or Schottenheimer.
They both have the same amount of Super Bowls.
Or Dan Quinn. Like, the reality
exactly.
is, come on.
You get what I'm saying. You add John Harbaugh there, and that's the missing link for them to really take off. With a young roster of guys that are hungry and want to get better, I love the match. I think it's perfect.
I said it, I think maybe yesterday. I don't know if I said it on the air. I was like, if that ends up happening, the Giants have found their Kyle Whittingham, because this is what Michigan did. They're like,
yeah,
oh, another program is not going to bring him back or whatever. He's going to step down.
Who's available? Like John Harbaugh's available?
John Harbaugh's available.
The Ravens fired John Harbaugh?
But you talk about, when was the last time this franchise felt like there was some stability on it, right? You hire John Harbaugh, you get it immediately. Just like Michigan when they hired Kyle Whittingham, they immediately got stability. They got a guy who's no nonsense. They got somebody who's going to come in there. He's not going to do this. He's not going to win the press conference by being, gimmicky. None of that. You know exactly what you're going to get with him. And I think for New York, I think it couldn't have been a better situation for Jackson Dart to be able to get in, to have a coach What I didn't want for him and for the Giants was to get another 2 years and done kind of coach.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Fire him after a 3-10 start.
Hire some coordinator.
Right.
It's his first job.
Right.
Some
Can't do
Joe
it.
Judge or Brian Dable. These haven't worked. These hires have not worked. They need somebody with experience, and that's what they got.
Yeah, I like it. I like it because I want to see him still coach because he's so dang good. And there you go. How about Aaron Rodgers showing some emotion? The report was that Aaron Rodgers sobbed and apologized during Mike Tomlin's final team meeting.
Jeez. Didn't think he had that in him.
Can't we let the guy cry in peace? You know what I mean? Here's what it said. He repeatedly said, "I'm sorry," as he sobbed during the meeting. Rodgers understood that his arrival in Pittsburgh was part of an all-in move aimed at getting the Steelers there. First playoff win in 9 years. Because he didn't deliver, he felt like he was in charge of that, and he feels like he was responsible for Mike Tomlin's exit.
Wow.
Appreciate it, but I don't think it was just Aaron Rodgers. All right? I think it was mostly Aaron Rodgers. It's like no.
Mike Tomlin did step down, right?
No, yeah.
The Steelers didn't fire him, right?
Yeah. What's funny about the Harbaugh situation is he was fired. Like
Right, straight up,
we're
done here.
The owner who had a
insane.
20-year relationship with him, and he brought him a championship to to Baltimore, and he had to let this guy go. And that's if you're the Ravens, you're looking, and whoever you get, you're going to go, well, the Giants have a better coach than we do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't care who it is. I don't think you're going to hire somebody better than John Harbaugh. Now, I get it. You wear out your welcome, or it's just it's time to move on, another chapter, blah, 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 whatever all the words HR uses when somebody's let go. Wish them the best in the future in their next chapter. Really appreciate their addition to the franchise over the years. Thank you so much. That's my HR email voice.
You're pretty good at that.
Well, we've read a few of those in our day, right?
Yes.
Two-time Pro Bowler Adam Thielen, he announced his retirement. That's a guy who I always thought was working his tail off.
Yeah, that's a guy that got the most out of his career, that overachieved. Great story. And, it was smart of him to ask the Vikings to release him so he could go try to win something. But, he's forever a Viking. He'll be always considered a Viking, even though he didn't play his whole entire career there. But, man, when he was at his peak, he was a top 10 receiver in the league. He had some really good years.
Yep.
If you played fantasy football over the last decade, he put up a lot of numbers.
Seahawks Sam Darnold just got added to the injury report.
Uh-oh. That changes things. Could he possibly miss this game?
What was the report, though? So he's questionable. He's added to the injury list.
It's an oblique, right?
He said that apparently he felt a little something in his oblique. I haven't felt my obliques in years, by the way. Haven't seen them. They're nowhere to be found.
Wow. Well, he found his, and that's not good.
Well, he was seen jogging off the practice field, did not appear to have any trouble moving. He says he's anticipating being ready to play.
So how much would it change things if Drew Lock is the starting quarterback for the Seahawks on Saturday night? You're a Seahawks fan. How do you feel about that?
I guess
the 49ers team, let's be honest, is banged up even more than the Seahawks.
Well, they're banged up, but you know what they are? They've been able to make lemonade all freaking year long.
They didn't make lemonade 2 weeks ago in Santa Clara against the Seahawks.
But imagine the job that Shanahan's done this year in San Francisco.
They just went into Philly and beat the defending Super Bowl champions that was with Kittle getting hurt.
They have so many injuries. They have so many problems.
Doesn't matter.
Their defense is obliterated right now.
They still win.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, he's a darn good coach. He's not coach of the year. Settle down on all that, but.
Who is?
You have to look at Ben Johnson as a one-year guy. Who takes the Bears to the playoffs ever? Who wins a playoff game with the Bears ever, right? I think that you have to probably look at guys like even Liam Cohen. Like,
how about Mike Vrabel? How about Mike McDonald at Seattle?
Mike McDonald, I didn't want to say it, but,
he's a betting
he's doing
favorite.
a pretty good job, you know what I mean? 14-3 this year. Win the division. I hate it because they're still like the favored. They're the favorite team right now, as of right now, in Vegas to win the Super Bowl. Hate it. It doesn't sound good to me. I don't like it at all. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We have more around the corner. Stay right here. I may have a little bit of a keyword coming up. Stay here. 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone.
Your home for the best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on the Zone. This is JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody. Welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone. Alex Kirry, Jeremiah Jensen. I know we do a lot of these contests with phone calls, but we're going to have to ask you to get out your keyboard. Not while you're driving, of course. But we've been giving out keywords all day today, every show. And we've got a different keyword for you. And you enter this keyword at kslsports.com/contests. And you're going to get yourself the chance to win tickets to see the Jazz and the Spurs. 5 tickets, by the way. So the more keywords you enter, the better chance you have to win. So make sure you're listening all day long. This is the final one. Hoop. H-O-O-P. For you other Alex Kirrys out there who are not great at spelling. Hoop. H-O-O-P. KSLSports.com/contest. And we're going to pick a winner. And we're going to get a 5-pack of tickets to see the Jazz and the Spurs next week. All right. Our producer, Alex Napolis, goes, why don't you speed it up a little bit on your top 10? All right? I think that was the exact quote. Sick of you guys. What? All right,
Got
fine.
a disgruntled producer
All right,
behind
fine,
the glass.
dude.
Jeez.
So in the spirit of that and trying to get out a little bit early this segment so we can get to Ben Anderson to preview this Jazz versus Dallas Mavericks game, which, by the way, it's official. Cooper Flag out.
Oh.
Come on. See if they can get the win down there in Dallas. That's coming up. Ben's going to be there. So in the spirit of going a little bit quicker, I've got a top 7 for you, JJ.
Top 7?
Yeah, we're just cutting the whole thing down by a third, man.
Wow.
Things are tight these days. You know what I mean? I can't afford 10.
Corporate cutbacks here. Jeez.
I can't afford 10.
Trimming the fat.
Now, part of it is because it's a very exclusive list, and so this only has 7 teams on it.
Oh.
Indiana, I'll give you that one, with their win last week, became only the 7th program in college football history to win 15 games in a season. Can you name the other 6 programs? On your mark. Get set. Wait, hold on a minute. Does he only get 40 seconds too? Is that how? Okay, well, all right. Here we go. On your mark, get set, go.
Michigan.
Ding.
BYU. Alabama. BYU's never won 15 games? I guess they won 14. Ooh.
Clemson?
Ding.
Hawaii.
I see where your reasoning was there, but
Georgia.
No. Ding.
Okay. LSU.
Ding.
Okay. I already mentioned Ohio State. Penn State. Give me another recent champion. What do we got? Notre Dame. Not a recent champion, but I threw it out there anyway. Who else is there?
There are other teams out there.
There are. Florida. No. Florida State.
Texas on there?
USC. Marshall.
It's Marshall. You
It's gotta
got
be
it.
some random team.
Time.
What do we miss?
I'm going to give you guys a win on this. You guys did really well. LSU, Indiana, Michigan, Georgia, Clemson. What do they all have in common, too?
They won
Modern era.
the modern era national championship.
Right, because
playoff.
that's what they did. I
Yeah.
mean,
what playoff team did we miss?
you didn't. You missed teams that they played way too many games back in the day with.
Oh.
Yale and Penn were your other 2.
Oh, come on.
Listen.
Ivy League?
They're people
Well,
too,
like,
JJ.
They won 15 games back in 1898. That glorious season.
That boy ain't right. Why'd you go full Hank Hill on that? All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. Ben Anderson going to join us next. Give us a preview of this Utah Jazz versus Dallas Mavericks matchup. Cooper Flag now officially out with this one in Dallas with the sprained ankle. We'll talk to Ben about it and much more. 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone.
Your daily deep dive into everything Utah Jazz.
It's time!
All season long and even in the offseason, it's Jazz Daily with JJ and Alex on your exclusive home of Utah Jazz basketball. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. If you miss any portion of our show, you can always go back, take a listen. All of the shows all day long have all of our segments put up there, out there in the universe for you to be able to see and or listen to and or stream. You can also stream us live on KSLSports.com. You can also stream us live on our YouTube channel, KSL Sports. Joining us on the program right now, he is Ben Anderson. He hosts Jake and Ben, of course, every day, 10 to noon right here in this very studio. And he's also one of our amazing Jazz insiders for KSLSports.com. Ben Anderson joins us on the program. Ben, how are you, man?
What's up, guys?
Ben, how are you?
I'm looking at Bryce Sensabaugh's a whole year here, and because I want to see there have been a handful of games because he had 2 games ago a 26-point game. These guys are getting guys like Bryce Sensabaugh are getting minutes and they're making something out of it. And in his case, have you been surprised the type of output? I know Lowry's not in. They don't ask guys coming off the bench to score 43 points on a nightly basis. What have you seen with him that he's turned a corner with this year?
That's kind of the weird thing with Bryce is that the flashes are certainly there, but it's almost like your brother-in-law who shows up like at the holidays and every once in a while it's like, oh, he really actually did bring something to contribute. And then every other time you're like, oh, you're just bringing the sodas, I guess. Like we'll do all the rest of the work.
You're just eating all the food, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, when's it going to be consistent? Because obviously the ability is there. He's had 2 20-point quarters in his Jazz career. He scored over 30 multiple times and now scores 40. It's like that's a real thing. Not everybody in the NBA can do that. So that's a plus. But when can he do it consistently? What can he offer consistently? And he would be better off having 5 straight games where he gives you 15 points and 4 rebounds and 3 assists, as opposed to, kind of a 20-point game and then a 4-point game and an 18-point game and a 6-point game. He needs to figure out something the Jazz can count on because, again, you're in year 3 now. He hasn't missed time with injuries. This is time to start delivering and show people who you are. It's just hard to count on some of these guys that are no longer, quote-unquote, young, that don't give you something every night, where Keontae has really taken that step. Walker took that step last year. So I think there is still the signs that are intriguing with Bryce Sensabaugh, but at a certain point, flashes just aren't enough anymore.
Yeah, I think it's unrealistic to think that Bryce Sensabaugh could do that on a nightly basis, but you'd like to see some in between. Now, you're absolutely right, but you see the skill and the ability to light it up, and he certainly has that. We're going to keep him in the league for a long time. We'll see it's with the Jazz long term. But it looks like Keontae George has figured out who he is as an NBA player. You covered him the last 2 years. What's the difference? Can you put your finger on what's really different with Keontae? That he's gone from a player that we're really not sure what his future looks like to now, is he an all-star? That's quite a jump.
Yeah, there's a real seriousness to his approach. Everything seems to be purposeful, which is a real evolution for him. Where, I was even talking to him about like kind of what he does pregame, and he was talking. Yes, now he shows up. He's the first one in the gym, quite literally. His pregame shootout is at 4:30. For a 7:00 game. That's the first time that they have availability on the court, and he's the first one to do it. But beyond that, he is eating differently, and he knows what he's eating now. And even then, it was a little bit of a guess. It seemed like he had to figure it out, but that's what he said. He listened to a podcast that Steven Adams of the Houston Rockets did, and what he eats on game days. And I don't think it has to be the same for every player. But Keontae literally told me, he said I was guessing every day. I would eat something and then I would feel terrible on the court. So I would try something different and I would feel different on the court. So I just didn't know what to expect every night. And he's kind of narrowed it down to just eating fruits the day of the game leading up until he gets to the arena. And then he has a real pregame meal, it sounds like. But yeah, he just kind of didn't know how to do things on purpose. It just kind of seemed like everything was a guess. And I think that's why the results, even shot to shot or play to play, quarter to quarter felt like a guess. And it just feels like everything is so locked in. It's so keyed in, no pun intended. He just really has figured it out kind of down to a science, what he can do on the court, how he needs to bring it off the court, kind of what his mindset needs to be, how serious he needs to be about how hard he works, about staying in shape. And those have been kind of ups and downs throughout his career. I remember in the pre-draft process reading people talking about him being like, well, he's probably 20 pounds overweight. And, you go back and look at it, it's hard to see that on his body, but he said he kind of yo-yo dieted, which is just a really weird thing for an 18-year-old. So I think his life has always been maybe a little bit up and down. And the fact that he's narrowed it down and really specified his approach, everything seems so intentional, I think is really the step forward for him. Because like Bryce Sensabaugh, the flashes were always there. We saw him score 30 against Golden State. We saw him dominate games and dominate quarters. And you think, man, if that clicks in, there's a good player there. And it's finally clicked in, and good for the Jazz for being willing to see it through, because there's a real, argument they could have given up on him this past summer, and they didn't, and now they're reaping the rewards.
One thing that's been interesting, it seems like every person we talk to about the Jazz, we end up talking about Cody Williams, because he's another guy that it's like, hey, this is put up or shut up time for a lot of these young guys, and he's one of those guys that needs to show that improvement. Have the, albeit small improvements, been enough for you to look at and go, this guy could turn some things around and maybe have the type of a year next year that Keontae's having this year?
Yeah, it's kind of the comparison. Again, this sounds a little brutal, but it's like, you've got the dead body on the hospital bed and you're hoping for a pulse and you're hoping for anything, and you just see the little bleep on the machine. You just see the little bit like, we think we might be able to save him. And because he was flatlined, I mean, he was really flatlined for the first 15 games of the season or so. He'd actually gotten worse from his first year, and his first year was kind of historically bad. So the fact that I think you're starting to hear that pulse a little bit, even the thing like last night where I don't think he scored a whole lot, maybe it was only 4 points, 6 points, whatever it was, he grabbed 7 rebounds. It's just like, yeah, you got to find a way to impact the game. He had so many games where he was grabbing no rebounds and handing out no assists. And it's one thing to not score, and he's not going to get many touches. And the Jazz don't need him to score. They've got a good offense with Lowry and with Keontae and some of these guys who can put up baskets. They don't need Cody to do a lot of scoring, but you can't do nothing. So the fact that he's starting to get involved a little bit, and it's funny, he had a couple of highlight reel dunks, and I think that gave him some confidence. I think that made him feel like, hey, I belong. And even we worked a lot on his body and tried to make his shoulders a lot bigger and put on some weight. I think you get a dunk and you're like, oh, I'm not bouncing off everybody anymore. Like, in fact, I can do a couple of things here. So I think you see him now driving to the basket, and the results are positive. And the more he does that, I think the less he thinks. And Cody's like really a thinker. I remember the first time I talked to Will Hardy about him, Will said, well, he's really got it between the ears. Like, he really understands the game. And that can be a negative for some guys. Some guys overthink. And I wonder if Cody overthought, should I dribble? Should I pass? Should I shoot? And by that point, the game's just moving too quickly and it moves past you. So now he catches it and he almost exclusively drives to the basket as soon as he touches it. And that just keeps the ball moving. And I think that's really helped him.
You look at the Jazz record, and it's 14-26, and it's near the bottom. It's not that much better than last year. But then you take a deeper look at the Jazz and some of the performances they've had in close losses and in actual wins. I mean, they got wins over the Spurs, Rockets. We've seen them beat some. We just saw them beat Cleveland in their building the other night. It's hard to quantify it, but are you seeing a big improvement, a big jump in this team and this roster this year compared to last year? And are you starting to see that light at the end of the tunnel?
Yeah, it's kind of funny because you do see both, and I think both are real, because we have seen a lot of games where they absolutely do not get off the bus, right? They've been down 25 in the first quarter of 6 games this season. I mean, that's crazy.
The Hornets game was insane.
I mean, that's more than a tenth of the games. They're down by 25 in the first quarter. The game doesn't even start. And so that's real. And, some of it they're sitting Lowry, and obviously that's going to be a big impact. But they've had losses at Minnesota where they did that. At New York they did that, and I think everybody was playing in those games. So it's not just, they're tanking this game. Sometimes they really fail to get off the bus. But if they do, and they keep the game even remotely competitive, and I think this is what we saw last night, Keontae George and Lauri Markkanen have a real argument a lot of nights to be the best players on the floor. Like, Keontae is better than anybody the Bulls have. So if the game is within 6, within 10 in the fourth quarter, like, the Jazz are truly within striking distance. So that's where they are picking up some of these wins that maybe we wouldn't have expected to see in the past, like wins over Dallas that they've had, like some of these overtime wins, including against Chicago earlier in the season, where, Keontae hits big shots and Lowry's making big shots. And that's actually a huge growth, because that's going to follow them when they do stop tanking. That's going to follow them when they do start trying to put that pedal to the metal and win games. Keontae can still be the best player on the floor, or Lowry can still be the best player on the floor, or if you're lucky, you have the 2 best players on the floor, and then the expectation is to win. So I don't think that's that far off. And why, when the Jazz do kind of plug this thing in and get the machine up and going, I think it's going to start running really quickly. I mean, I think they're going to get back to winning without, a warm-up season. Next year isn't going to be 35 wins. They're going to go from 23 wins to 42 wins, I think, really quickly. I'm not sure there's a real in-between season there.
Mark Twain had a quote about stats, and it's, there are lies, there are damn lies, and there are statistics. And, you know, they don't tell us everything. The Jazz are 6th in the league in scoring right now. That seems to be one of those that you're like, okay, they're coming back from a lot of games, and a lot of teams, when they are losing big, you see these massive numbers. But one I think that does stick, and one that probably absolutely eats up Will Hardy as their dead last in points for their opponents in the league, and kind of by a lot. How does the defense get turned around? These guys are showing lots of improvement in so many other places. I'm having a hard time seeing the defensive side. That seems to be the thing that Will gets pissed off the most about.
Yeah, you know, I heard a quote the other day. I think I was listening to Jalen Williams, Cody Williams' brother, as they were getting ready to play the Spurs, and they were talking about defending Wemby. And he said, you know, defense is always 5-on-5. And what he means by that is, like, if all 5 guys aren't playing, then it doesn't matter if anyone's playing. You know, like if they're good teams are just going to find the weakness and they're just going to exploit it. So you can't have lots of bad defenders on the floor at one time. So whereas, like, I do think Keontae's gotten better defensively. I think Lowry's gotten a lot better defensively. When Yusuf Nurkic is your center, or Kevin Love is your center, or Kyle Filipowski is your center, you're just dead in the water. And then if you have another bad defender out there, you're really in trouble. So I think some of the problem is they're not doing anything well in the paint. They are starting to get some weird numbers as far as, like, limiting teams to, like, 6 points last night in the third quarter for the Bulls. Like, it does feel like some of the rotations on the perimeter are sharper and are dialing in. But if you do beat them, there's absolutely zero resistance once you get to the basket, and you can score easily there. And that's maybe where a Walker Kessler comes in and just fixes a lot of those issues, where he's not Rudy Gobert, but he's certainly a rim deterrent. So I think that can help, and I think that's going to be the positive. But also, you just have to go out and sign players. I mean, defense, we like to think of it as this, like, spiritual, hard to, like, place thing, because it's hard to find, like, actual good defensive numbers. And the truth is, if you go and get good defensive players, your defense gets better. Just like if you can't score and you get good offensive players, your offense gets better. If you just go and sign this year in free agency 2-3 guys who are known for their defense, your defense is going to look a lot better. It's not rocket science. So I think that's what the Jazz will approach, and they will see what works, and then they will have to adjust the scheme after they actually have the talent on the floor to execute it.
Donovan Mitchell said that Keontae George deserves to be an All-Star. Do you agree?
Donovan Mitchell is always going to say what everyone wants to hear.
Yes.
And it's a blessing and a curse. You know, it's made him really likable. It also makes him almost a little bit untrustworthy, because you're like, why are you always saying everything everybody wants to hear? Where's the pushback?
Yep.
So do I think Keontae deserves to be an All-Star this year? Truthfully, no. You look at the West is just so stacked. Like, if he gets in, that means Denny Avdia doesn't make it. Well, the Trailblazers are better than the Jazz, and Denny Avdia has better numbers than Keontae George. It's like, Jamal Murray is on, what is Denver, the number 2 or number 3 team in the West right now, and he's doing it without the MVP in Nikola Jokic, or one of the MVP candidates, and he's got as good as or better numbers than Keontae George. So it's like, truthfully, no, Keontae should not be in the All-Star game this year. And in fact, that might be okay. Like, make him continue to push for it. You know, it did hurt Donovan when he didn't make it his second year. It hurt Darren Williams when he didn't make it his second or third year, whatever it was in the NBA, when he wasn't named an All-Star. Like, it's fine for Keontae to still have a carrot to chase. And I also think you should reward winning. And the Jazz don't win right now. Like, if Lowry doesn't make it in this first 12 in the West, maybe he still gets picked to fill out the international team. That's possible. I don't think he's going to make it in the top 12, and they'll announce that probably next week sometime. But, if you're going to win 14 games and lose 26, it's like, it's cool you're putting up good numbers. And I do think the Jazz are right. Those players are actually helping them win when they do win games. But I'm all for rewarding winning, especially in a league right now that is so happy to reward losing teams.
It also just seems like you got to play 30% better in Utah than everybody else in the other markets. I mean, smaller market teams like that don't get the type of looks, I think, nationally. And you get the looks when you're winning, too. So to that point, it's the exact same. We had the same thought where we're like, pump the brakes a little bit. You got to put together even more of a decent stretch here. Not just this year. It's got to be next year and probably the year after. Maybe that's going to be the year that he makes it if he stays on this type of a streak here. Jazz, Mavericks tonight. Cooper Flagg is going to be out with that ankle. How does this team match up against a Cooper Flaggless Maverick team down in Dallas?
Yeah, and I mean the enter name list Dallas Mavericks is going to be a theme tonight. You know, obviously no Kirry and no Anthony Davis, but they're just missing a lot of bodies. They're going to be very injured, and the Jazz are going to have to try and match that if they want to lose some of these games. And clearly, the Jazz want to lose some of these games, especially against teams like Dallas that are right there in the rankings with the Jazz when it comes to the lottery. So I think the Jazz have already beat Dallas twice, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
You beat them the next 2 games. Like, that's 4 wins over a team that you're directly competing with in the lottery. I don't think the Jazz probably have all that much interest in doing it. So how do you figure that out? Does Keontae play 20 minutes? Does Keontae not play on Saturday? It sounds like he's going to go tonight, but technically he doesn't have to. Jazz can rest him. He doesn't apply to the player participation agreement that the league has made because he's never been an all-star. So the Jazz don't have to play him if they don't want to. However, you also don't want to throw him off his rhythm. Like, he's playing really well, and I think you want to keep that up. So I'll be curious what approach the Jazz take. Do we see Nurkic tonight? Are we going to see Kevin Love again before the trade deadline? That's 3 weeks away. Maybe he starts tonight and plays a lot. It's very possible. But, yeah, the Jazz are going to have to take some steps if they want to lose these games. And by every sign, they want to lose these games.
Ben, you mentioned the trade deadline coming up here. It's actually 3 weeks to the day. Do you expect the Jazz to be busy?
I don't expect them to be busy. I think Danny Ainge loves to be active, and then Austin Ainge is actually the one making the decisions now, and he's the first time sitting at the machine. Like, I think you want to take your Ferrari out and get it on the track and see how fast you can get it going. So I'm sure he would love to make some moves if he thinks they're out there. And honestly, the best moves the Jazz can make if they're trying to get into the lottery is to get worse. And the players you trade to get worse are Kevin Love, are Svi Mykhailiuk, and are Jusuf Nurkic. I mean, those are just veterans who are probably not long-term solutions on the team. Maybe Svi is. Svi could be a guy who is coming off the bench next year on a team that's competing for the playoffs. I could absolutely see that. The problem is, does anyone want to take $19 million of Jusuf Nurkic's contract back while you're getting somebody who's going to hurt you? And the answer may be yes. Is a team like the Boston Celtics dying to shave even more money off their salary cap and will give up an Anthony Simons that the Jazz, aren't interested in, but, isn't going to fill the center position and hurt them? There are things like that out there. I haven't heard that by any means, but I'm just kind of looking around the NBA at some salaries and what would work on that front. So something to keep an eye on there.
He's going to have an eye on the game as well tonight, and you can get the breakdown of this game from Ben. He does a phenomenal job covering this Jazz team as our Jazz insider. You can also listen to him every day right here on the KSL Sports Zone, 10 to noon. Ben, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Have fun watching this game. We'll talk to you next time, man.
Thanks, guys. Talk soon.
There you go.
Thanks, Ben.
Ben Anderson. He knows a thing or two about this team.
Yes, he does. Well connected.
By the way, top of the hour. This hour brought to you by the good folks at Trajan Wealth, TRAJANwealth.com, TrajanWealth.com for all your trusted local needs in retirement, and also the folks at U of U Health at University of Utah Health. Hope is in our DNA. Learn more at uofuhealth.org. University of Utah Health, for you, for life. Mere moments away from pregame here, JJ. The way that this one looks, this could be that 3-0 start against the Mavericks this year for the Utah Jazz, especially if Cooper Flagg is out. You have some young kid who got this ticket for Christmas, and then Cooper Flagg's not even going to play in that game. There's a couple of those kids in Dallas right now mopping
at
up
least
those
it's
tears.
at home and not on the road. You get 41 chances to watch the Mavericks in Dallas. There's some places where you only get one chance all year on the East Coast. So, Jazz, I think this is a night where they go in there and win. They have the Mavericks number for whatever reason with this current group. Anthony Davis out. And obviously Cooper Flagg out. So Dallas is shorthanded. As long as the Jazz, I haven't heard, is Lowry going to play? Is Keontae in? What? Lowry's out. So Lowry's not playing. Second night of a back-to-back. So that changes things a little bit, but I thought the Jazz played pretty well last night against the Bulls, even though they were shorthanded. It's kind of tough because best on best is out. So Jazz, I still think they get a win tonight.
Lowry played no nights of the back-to-back, by the way.
Yeah, we sat out last night. We're like, that's why I had to ask. I hadn't seen the report yet.
That's what we assumed he's going to play tomorrow. Today.
So he's not.
Does it say a little something in the parentheses?
The Jazz,
what does it say?
We don't want the Mavericks to.
Ooh.
It's not good for the Mavericks to lose tonight. It's good for the Jazz if the Mavericks win tonight. You don't think that's a coincidence?
Illness.
Uh-huh.
I think you've got the black lung, Pop. I don't know. I don't know what the reality is. So, these guys are going to be.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. By the way, we'll be back again tomorrow. Tomorrow's program, we're anticipating a conversation with Bear Tourney, who's the head coach of the Utah Mammoth. He's going to give us a breakdown of how this team's going. They've got a game tonight, too. So you've got Jazz over on 97.5. You've got hockey that starts up at 6 o'clock over on 1280. So we'll leave it right there. Have fun listening to all of it right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Stay tuned right now. Jazz basketball is next.